I think in a few
Not on
seconds.
YouTube yet?
Yes, we are live. Yes.
We are live, not on mine. Oh, I have to mute mine. Okay.
But we can start.
Okay. Okay, so let's do it, Gustavo. So the show today, it's in our hands. So we're going to have fun today, video and image in audio editing. So thank you very much, Gustavo, for accepting to do this. And I think this is the second most requested webinar by teachers because they
Really?
feel uncomfortable in doing their own videos, and sometimes they don't find what they want, or they want to edit something. So I think this is going to be very popular. So thank you very much for agreeing and sharing your expertise with us. And so today we have Gustavo with video and audio editing. And I give you the floor, Gustavo, and I will be paying attention to the Zoom and to YouTube and let you know if anything goes wrong. So if something goes wrong in the technical part, it's my fault. Today it's not Gustavo's fault. We're switching today.
Thank you, Rosa. So hello, everyone, and welcome. I'll try to do this an interesting presentation. I must confess that I'm not an expert in video and audio, but I have plenty of experience in being involved in audio and video productions, but not as editor. I have some experience, but I'm not the expert. But I think I have enough knowledge to share with you and helping you start the first steps in these tasks that, as Rosa said, some people feel intimidated. But the bottom line here is that don't be afraid of making mistakes. Everything is digital. It's just electrons that you add and remove from your memory. And so if you make a mistake, you just start over again, learn from your mistakes, and eventually you will be understanding how it works. But before I show you the tools that I'm going to show, free tools that you can use to prepare your audios and videos, I have been a presentation here, some slides that I'm going to share.
You have to make the view only for you. I cannot do that from here.
Okay, you mean pin
Spotlight?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's Spotlight, okay. But now I'm going to be only me presenting because we are now on full screen. So let me just move here some windows and then I can start. So here, play slideshow. And yes, so this is the presentation, so video and audio editing. And just the overview of this workshop webinar, a brief introduction and some basics before I present you the Audacity, which is perhaps the most well-known audio editing tool, free, and some video editing tools that I'll present, namely Shortcut and Vimeo, that you can also use. And then questions and concluding remarks. So this is going to be a small presentation here with slides, and then I'm going to do some work with you and try to encourage you to do the same. Let's see what happens. So as I wrote in the description of this webinar, video is everywhere. So we live in a video society, so everything is based on video now. The technology has improved to the point that we can make video calls with our relatives that are on the other side of the road and have broadcasts, everything on the palm of our hand, or using smartphones. These devices, they can record the images, they can transmit the images, you can edit, you can publish. So it's really nowadays, everyone that has a smartphone have the minimum requirements to start doing something related to video and audio. And there's this whole art of it that how do you transform the raw materials that you collect with your capture device, your smartphone or your cameras or your audio recorders, and then transform it into engaging story or engaging visual element that will help you on delivering your message. So this is, I think, the part that people become feeling a bit lost because they see the results and they don't feel happy. So there's a lot to be some secrets and some also the tools of the trades that the people who are used to editing video and audio do, and what makes the work interesting. So there's it involves the manipulation, and arranging all the elements that you have for your final product. But it needs to be constructed in a way that captures attention. And while preparing videos and audios of excellent quality is really challenging, it really demands dedication and hours and hours and hours of making mistakes. You can do okay videos like the ones I think I have already prepared, that they are not, of course, cinema material or streaming material, but they are good enough to deliver messages to your stakeholders, to the field of education. You can make shorts, educational videos, or video reports for funding agencies. So that's the kind of materials that myself as a video editor have prepared in the past. And that has become really an essential part not only in education or science communication, but in our professional activities as a whole. Because if you want to deliver the message, presenting a project or presenting an idea, if you have a video presenting that will certainly deliver a message. It can be shared on social media, on your website, that will many times be more efficient than giving just a piece of paper with text and let people read them through that. Having this more fluid communication by video and audio is certainly very efficient. Let's not forget about audio, because video requires you paying attention, watching, but many hours a day people are involved in activities that are not they demand visual awareness, like driving, walking, or cooking. You need to be focused, with your eyes, but you can have auditive information on the background that do not compromise what you're doing. So radio has been around for more than 100 years and still very popular, not only for music, but for news, and also now most recently for podcasts. You have podcasts about any subject, I think, these days. And myself, I usually listen to podcasts while either I'm walking my dog or when I'm in the kitchen, preparing the meals or washing the dishes. So that's the time of the day that I use to listen to something, try to learn something new, or being up to date with the news. So audio itself is also very important. So video did not kill the radio star, as the song says, but it's only it added a different dimension. And the good thing, for those who are starting, is that since we live in this video and audio society, is that we have been exposed to it throughout our lives. So my first advice here is that when you are taking your first steps and trying to make your first video or your first audio, try to recall what you have been watching and listening all your life, and what has attracted your attention. What do you think is a good example of video or podcast? and try to replicate, try to include the elements that you think you like and use it. It's not, you don't have to come with something totally unique, but if you make things that looks familiar to other people, they will be more comfortable in listening to your content, and it will be easier to deliver your message. So build upon your previous experience and common knowledge, and that will help you to give your first steps. So what are the key elements to prepare these contents? So we have some ingredients that are required. Of course, you need some kind of device that will record the voice and images. So I mentioned the smartphone, and the smartphone has everything built in one. But the quality is, especially for audio, is not the best. It will give you decent images. In fact, many video producers, especially on YouTube, use smartphones for capturing the images. But for sound, it's a bit more complicated. It's work best if you have a dedicated microphone. I'm not using any one now. I'm using just the microphone of the computer, the built-in microphone. But you can acquire not very expensive beginners microphones that can be either a long-range microphone, like the one that is in the picture, that is black thing here under the lights, or you can have a microphone to put on here on your collar. That if you are going to talk, sometimes it's best, especially if you are in a scenario that you are far away from the camera. Then that kind of microphone won't capture the sound with enough volume. Then it's better to have a microphone here. If you don't have anything like that, you can use, for instance, a simple headset, the ones that you use for our phones for talking, and because that has a built-in microphone, so just improvise with that. You put here, like the guys on television use, just put it here on your shirt. If you have some kind of thing to make it, to fix it, it's better. But there's one thing that you need to remind is that the microphone, if you're using it in your clothes, be careful so that the clothing does not moves over the microphone, because they need to capture the sound of the cloth over the microphone, and that's disturbing. And there's nothing worse than spending hours recording things, and then when you go to listen to the audio, you see that the audio is not good. So I would pay attention to the sound and to audio if you are speaking, because that's really important, and always do some testing before recording the real thing. And that's why every professional recording unit has a person that is specifically monitoring the audio to make sure that the quality is good. So the microphone is maybe something important to add to your kit. The camera, as I said, the cameras on smartphones nowadays, they are very good. They have good resolution. They have different zoom settings, and they are sufficient to start your work. But then if you want to go deeper, then you should consider buying a digital camera. It doesn't need to be a fancy camera, but one that actually records videos in high definition, at least 1080 pixels side by side, or nowadays 4K, 4,000 by 4,000 pixels. This is the resolution that is used now in high definition screens. But you can buy such cameras for, I don't know, a couple of €100. You can buy a camera that will record in this high definition. So these are the essentials: the camera for the images and the microphone for the sound. Then there's an additional element that is good to consider if you want to make something a bit more less amateur, that are the lights. So good lighting is important. It's difficult to master because everything in the frame will cast shadows. So it's difficult to balance all the different tones of the lights. If you ever try to take a photograph of people in sunlight, you probably have experienced that sometimes the exposure is good for the background, but the faces are dark or the opposite. So that's why people, even if you are recording broad daytime, you can use some additional lights or reflectors. Pieces of white paper or white styrofoam will reflect the light and give you the same illumination all through the frame. So lights are something that will improve the quality of your video. They are not mandatory, but if you want to have a good looking product, this is an important thing to consider. And finally, what I call the studio, that are additional equipment. Just a comment here, this small picture that I'm showing with the smartphone and the tripod. This is a starter kit for social influencers, so to say. And I saw these things here, like the tripods, the microphone, and the lights, they sell for under 100 euros. So it's quite accessible if your school is planning to have some kind of equipment. You can start very cheap. The tripod is really important because otherwise the image gets jittery if you hold it in your hand. So having a small tripod is always nice to make the image stable. And then where to record it? Then you can record it anywhere. But if you have a dedicated place, a studio, it's better. So the most important thing here to consider is the acoustics, because as I said, sound is very important, and then you need to make sure that there's no background noise, or at least the minimum possible. This is why on professional TV studios, all the rooms they have audio insulation, foam or styrofoam that block the sound from outside. They have thick doors that will make really the sound from the outside not penetrating. Of course, in our regular homes or workplaces, we don't have such a structure, but you can try to improve this by choosing a place that is quiet, that does not have sound from the street and so on. And if you are recording on outdoors, then this is more difficult because there will be, of course, the ambient noise. So you have to monitor and thinking these things beforehand before you start recording. So after you took care of all of it, you have your equipment, you have your location, then you record, you capture, and then you have the raw materials. So what are the elements in the case of videos that you use in addition to movies itself, movie clips? You can use also just audio files that can be narration or can be music, and you can also employ images, still images, photographs that can be used, and then the video editors will offer you different simulated camera motions that you can zoom in the image, you can zoom out, you can move the camera over the image. That's called a pan. But so it's not only about movie clips, but also regular images that can be included in your video production. And if you're just making a podcast, then it's just about audio files. So that would be voiceovers and also music. Can be either the feature music or background music, and also what we call the drops, that are just small audio clips that will mark the transition from like one piece of the podcast to the other one. But in the end, you have a folder in your computer with all the files that you're going to use in the production. So that's one thing. But before you rush to your editing software, you need to think about the structure of the presentation itself. So that's where a more intellectual work will come in hands, that you have two things that you need to prepare. One is the script. So this is the text that you will read, or the text describing all the contents that you have in the presentation. So there you need to have indications of, for instance, if you want to begin your video with some music, then you have to put on the script. I'll go show an example later on. But here in the start, I want some music playing. Then the volume is lowered, and then the narrator enters. And of course, you need, if you are doing video, you also need to describe what kind of images or video clips you want to use. So if it's just a piece of paper with text, we call this a script. But if you have also visual elements like thumbnails or screenshots of the videos that you want, or the images that you want in the video, then it changes the name. It becomes a storyboard. So in production, you really start with the script, because this is the more general idea, and the writer puts the ideas on the script. And then when they have the script more or less set up, then you prepare the storyboard, because then you have already a very good idea of what your video is about. And then you can start adding the elements, the visual elements, and all other audio elements. So that becomes more a storyline that we will see in the editing software. So this is something that people usually overlook. They think that for having a video, I want to do a video, I'll just record myself and the other people or anything, and then I'll make the video. So that's not the correct way of doing things. Before you go to editing, you really need to have your plan ready of how do you want to organize your ideas and have it engaging. So finally, we have everything to set up. Then it's time for you to go to your computer and start working on software. There are many, many, many options. People have their own preferences. There's no tool that's better than others. It really depends on your familiarity, the one that you like the most, and also if there's a free or paid software. Of course, the commercial options will give you more resources, but there are good enough free softwares that we can use to prepare videos, not maybe with top-notch quality, but good enough for our purposes. And once you have your final product ready, you're satisfied with it, it's time to publish. So then you have to publish your final product in a platform. It can be in video. Now we are live on YouTube. So YouTube is the most well-known video sharing platform. There's also Vimeo, which I'm going to show you. And for sounds, there are also many platforms for podcasts. There's Spotify, there's Google Podcasts, Apple Music. So there are really a range of publishing platforms that you can upload your audio files, and people like me can listen to it while walking the dog. But don't forget, these are the elements, the practical things, but there are some things that need to be in your mind when doing all the work. First thing is to consider your target audience. So who are you speaking to? Who you want to listen to your audio or to watch your video? So this is essential, because this will set the tone for the script. So if you're targeting something for kids, you need to use a simple language. You need to use visual elements that are more cartoon-like, maybe, and the kind of music that's more playful. So this will be one kind of production. If you are targeting your presentation to teachers, you have a different language. If it's for scientists, these are more perhaps technical. description. So this is really important. So for everything, but especially in case of these productions. So always put yourself in the place of the listener or the viewer. If the language that you are using is appropriate for that audience. Other thing to consider is the duration of video. So it is known that today people have very little attention spans, especially since the popularization of social media like Instagram and TikTok. The short videos have really, invaded, and that has a down size, that is, people no longer enjoy long videos. So even on YouTube, they created shorts that are videos that are short, and they are made on, on vertical mode, so people can watch on their phones, scroll from video to video. But for some purposes, this is not enough. This is not sufficient. And if you want to make a more consistent production, then it's going to be longer. But you need to consider what kind of audience you have and what message you want to deliver to set the tone for the duration of your overall script. In the case of YouTube, one suggestion is that if you have a very long content, like if you are giving a class or a lesson about a specific subject, and it is 30 minutes, 50 minutes long, then maybe it's better to break it into chapters, and then you make a playlist so people can watch video by video, because people are scared of long videos or long audios. So you can make it different presentations depending on what you want, who you want to reach. Okay, so duration is important. And finally, the copyright, because it's impossible to have everything, made by yourself unless you are very talented, especially in the case of music. So music really adds another dimension to these productions. But what you might discover is that sometimes you don't know about it, but you make your video, you're very happy with it, and you put your favorite song on that. And then when you upload it to YouTube or to Facebook or Instagram, boom, the video is blocked because you used copyrighted music. So there's a whole, this would be another webinar just about copyright issues. So the best way to avoid it is to use resources, especially video and audio, that is publish it under the Creative Commons license. So the Creative Commons is a general policy that tells you about how can you use that material. So it's mainly three different categories that are here in these pictures. There's by, that you can reuse it as long as you give credit. And then you must mention in the description of the video or in the credits at the end, or even overlaid in the image or the clip itself, the source of that image, who published it originally. Then there's the second icon here is that's for non-profit. So you cannot use it for profit purposes. So as long as it's non-commercial, for instance, for education or for non-commercial purposes, you can use. So this is a different category. And finally is the reuse, that you must consent that people can also use your own presentation and modify it. So you have to check the license always, the copyright, and that's usually informed either at the website as a general policy or at the video file itself. So it's recommended not to just pick any kind of image in Google and put on your video without consulting the copyright before, because that can lead to your video being blocked and you being penalized in the platform. So please pay attention to that. Okay, so those were the first general considerations. What I'm going to do now is to show you some tools free tools that we can use for preparing audio and video. So I'll start with audio. This is going to be not very long, just 15 minutes each to give you a taste of what these things can do and make you miss your fear to moving using these tools. So I'll begin with Audacity. This is for audio. And then I'll show you Shortcut, that is for video. This is free as well. And I'll show you very briefly Vimeo, because Vimeo doesn't have all the resources that Shortcut has. But it for many purposes, it would be good. If you just want to make a very simple video, you can use Vimeo, and this will prepare very nice videos for you. And is more user-friendly than Shortcut. But Shortcut is not very hard, actually. It's very similar to other editors that come with your own computer. For both of these softwares, Audacity and Shortcut, they are free, and they are available for all kinds of operating systems. Myself, I use a Mac, but all those two are also available for Windows users and Linux users. And even in the system, if you have a Windows computer or a Mac computer or a Linux computer, chances are that you have already in the system some kind of editor like the Movie Maker or iMovie that comes with the system, and then you also can use those for preparing your presentations. But there are many, many tools, and it's really you can use the one that you feel more comfortable with. So the idea here for Audacity is that I mentioned podcasts. So that's what I'm going to show, how we can produce a podcast. And for that, I use it a tool. I don't know, Rosa, if there are any questions. You tell me how the audience is
Not at the moment.
interacting. Okay, but feel free to ask.
Okay.
And so Audacity we will start very soon. But before I start, I will just tell you what I prepared, what was the idea. So I didn't have much time to be creative, so I asked artificial intelligence to prepare a script for me. So I went to ChatGPT and I asked it, oh, please prepare me a script for a podcast aimed at teachers about the importance of digital resources in education. And this script should be no longer than 1 minute. So you just ask that thing, and that was the output. So it has some indications of when you use opening music, background music, transition, which is like a piece of music that goes from one part to the other, and so on. So that's very helpful if you don't have, of course, if it was a serious business, I would never do that. Just to get the output and to use it. But just for the sake of an example, that I think was a good idea. And if you are completely lost on how to do it, please don't be afraid. Go for ChatGPT and ask questions, and you receive something like this sample script, and then you can modify it at your own pace until you are satisfied. But that's what you need. You need to have a text with the indications that what happens. And then in the case of the storyboard here, we don't have anything visual, but one thing that you need to add before actually starting the production is to have an indication of what kind of audio files are you going to use in each one of the sections. So like which opening music are you using, which background music are you using, and so on. But that's our starting point now. So another thing that I did using artificial intelligence, I didn't want to record myself speaking, so I just went to a site that gives you text to speech. So I copy and pasted this script and let a robot do the talking for me. So that is what I will use in the presentation. So I'm going to stop sharing now the presentation because I'll have to show you the browser and also the software. So okay, so let's start and share the whole desktop. Just 1 minute. And share with sound. Okay, so now you are going to see me. Yes, and I'll start Audacity. So Audacity is here. So you're seeing the whole screen, right, Rosa?
Yes,
Rosa?
well,
Okay, good. So now it's loading. So this is Audacity. Let me maximize it. So not very good. So Audacity is an audio editor, and it has this look. So this is not very inviting, right? But here in this tab, and also on the menus that you probably don't see, you have everything that you need to prepare a very good audio product. And the key idea here is the idea of tracks. So it's like in a studio, when you a music studio, if you're going to record a song, then you record each instrument in a different track. So you have a track for the guitar, you have a track for the vocals, you have a track for the bass guitar, one track for the drums, and then you have to mix the volume of each track, and also put different timestamps to your audio elements. So what I did here is that, you saw that script. Let me show the script again. So what are the key elements here? I need an opening music. I need a background music. I need a transition music or audio effect, and I need a narration. So this is it. This is the basic elements of this audio production. So I have already prepared it, and this is what I'm going to show you. I told you about copyright. So for music, you can, for instance, use this FMA, that's Free Music Archive. This will give you music that are suitable and are copyright free or Creative Commons free compliant. So you can just here type podcast and search, and this will give you some musics that are suitable for instance, this one, podcasting. Let's listen. Okay, waiting, loading. You hear that, right, Rosa?
yes, Gustavo, we hear that.
Okay, good. So you can look, you have many different songs that you can use. And if you are satisfied, then you can download it and use it in your production. And for sound bites, for audio effect, we have here this free sound that also is just small clips of sounds that you can use. So you can see sound podcast transition. Let's check. And then you just type anything, whatever comes to your mind, and you give you some examples. You can preview it, like here, this. So just small clips, like 1 second long, 2 seconds long, that will make you a good transition. And then you can download the ones that you like the most and then include it in your audio. So here is what I'm going to do. I'll start a new project. So I have here, the project is open, and then I will add tracks. So there is one menu option that's called tracks, and I'm selecting add new, and I will add new a stereo track. So when I do that, it opens a blank. It's a blank canvas. So as I said, we have at least 3 different tracks here. One is for the background or opening music. The second one is for the narration, and the third one is for the transition. So I'm going to add 3 tracks here, because that's what I want to do. So there are 1, 2, 3 tracks. And I will start with the music. So here I can, I think it's here. No, this is expand. So, no, that's much easier than I'm doing. I just go into my computer. I have a folder here that's called podcasts, and I have the tracks. So this is for the music. So I'm going to use this song here. Actually, it's in the video, sorry. I think this one, maybe. Just wait. Yes, this one. So this is my music video. So I just grab it and put it on the track. It's going to a different track, to the third one, but no problem. Then I have the other tracks here. One is for the narration, that was the AI narration, and finally the transition, which is this one. Okay, is it there? Yes. Okay, so I have one here, another one here. There's one that is missing. I think it's the narration. I'll put it again. Sorry. Okay, so I have everything here. So, and now we can listen to everything. So let's check what you have here. So you can zoom in and zoom out and listen to each one of the tracks. So I have here the zoom button. And okay, so you have a track here. I can select it to highlight, and then I just click on play, and then it will play the track. Okay, that's not exactly what I meant. Yes, I now find it. Okay, so this is it. I can kill this one. And I have the 3 tracks here. So this, you can see the waveforms, right? So I think I'm going to collapse the other so you can look it better. So here, this first one is the effect. Okay, so we see it. The other one that we're showing now, this is the narration. So here you have pauses between the different phrases. And the third one is the music. If I only want to listen one, I can mute the others. So I'm going to mute the music, and I'm going to mute the narration so we can listen just to the transition. So look at it. So this is the transition. This is I'm going to put between one block of the podcast and the other. I'm going to mute this one, and I'm going to unmute the narration. I'll move the cursor here, and I'll put play.
Welcome, dear listeners, to another episode of LFE Podcast.
Okay, so this is the audio that I capture from the narration, the AI narration. So I have all that text from the script, which is here in this audio file. It's a very large, and then you can say, okay, so what I want here is I don't want to use the whole audio at first, but I want to use just the 2 first phrases. So this is quite easy. I just delete the track here. And then if I hit backspace or cut, then we are going to, you see, there's cut. So I just cut here, and boom, it's gone. So that's one thing. Okay, so this is important. I now have only the chunk of the narration that I want, and I can paste the rest later. And okay, and this is the music. I already heard it a little bit, but I go just to put. So my idea here, Haza, was to have the like in a regular podcast, you have an opening music, and then after a while, I will have the narrator in. So you see here, all the 3 things, they are together. So they're starting at the same moment. This is not good. Look at how it sounds. I'm going to be back here in this controls. You can control the flow. So I'm going back to the start of the track, and I'm going to play. So you heard the transition.
Welcome, dear listeners, to
alongside the music, and then the narration comes in. But you see, this is the volume here, this graph. So the thing here is that if I move a little bit ahead...
Dear listeners, to another episode of LFE Podcast. I'm your host,
So one thing that you might want to do is that when the narrator comes in, you want to lower the volume of the music to have just background music. So in the beginning, you have it loud, but then you lower. So I'm going to show you how I want to do it. And the other thing is I want you also to do is that I want the narrator to come after some music and not immediately at the beginning. So I want to have some cool music before, and I'll show you why I want to do that. So I'm going to mute again here the transition and the narration, and I will start over, and I will define when I want to have the volume lowered. So here it is. So at this point, I want the narrator in, okay? Because I want that drum fill in the beginning so people can get pumped up. And then, so how do I put the second track on further ahead? So there's this second tool here, which is time shift tool. This is the arrows to both sides. So if I select it, I can move it here to a bit further ahead. And now the narration will be after the music starts a little bit. Yes, Rosa?
When you're moving your cursor to show where are the different buttons, go a little bit slower. It's not always easy to see where your mouse is.
Okay, so this is the selection that I use it now. Okay, so this is the time shift tool. Okay, and it's very intuitive. If you just hover your mouse over each icon, it will tell you what it does. So what I did here is that I selected this tool and I moved it further ahead. Okay, so that's when I want the narration to happen. And after that, I want the transition. So this will be the first section of the podcast. And then I will move it. The third track is the transition. I selected it here in select on the bottom. And now I will move it now to after the narration. So this is the structure that I want. So I want introductory music, then narration, and then a transition, and then the second part of the narration will come in, but we won't do everything because we don't have time. And the other thing that I want is that I want the music to play just at this part before the transition, because I want a second music on the second part. So what I'm going to do here is go back to the selection tool, okay, to where my mouse is now, is the first icon to the left on the top, and then I will select here where here, which is where the transition ends, and I will select all that audio track and I will delete it. I will hit delete on the keyboard, and that's only the piece of music that I'm going to use. And the other thing that I told you is that I wanted the music to be lower in volume when the narration starts. So for that, there's this other tool here, which is called the envelope. Is F2 is the second icon that allows you to control the volume of a certain track. Okay, and one thing here, just one comment, is that don't be afraid of cutting things. You are not modifying the original file. Okay, this is just the things that are inside of the program. Your original file, your original music and audio, it's unchanged. Okay, it's on your folder, so there's no reason to panic about it. One thing that I also might want to do is to zoom a little bit in so I can see more detail, the waveform. And now what I want to do is to lower the volume. So I'm going to move here, this green arrow here over the numbers to the point where the narrator comes in. Stop. So move again. Okay, so it's going to move here. Yes, here. So, and then I want to use the envelope to lower the volume. So here I'm going to select the starting point and the ending point of the song, of the narration. And then I'm going to move, I don't know if you see that in my cursor, but there are two small white triangles, and this will it's very small, really. And then I will move it down. So here I can control the level of the second track. So I'm going to lower it as much as I can, not to 0, but here I think it's fine. That was on the right hand, and now going to the left part here where it starts, and I'm going to lower it here. So this is where you lower the volume. So you see the envelope, the blue line. So here at the start, this is at 100% volume. Then just before the narration enters, it lowers to around 50%. And then it will remain around that level until the end of the narration. And then just after the narration ends, I'm going to lower a bit more. So here I'm going to put another level, and I'm going to lower it until 0, okay? So this is called a fade out, is when you lower the song gradually. Okay, so I have a 26-second clip, and let's see how the result is. Let's check and listen from the start. Oh, I'm sorry. I not unmuted the other tracks, so we have to listen it one more time. Sorry. Oops. So let's select again, and here.
Welcome, dear listeners, to another episode of LFE Podcast. I'm your host, and today we're diving into a topic that's transforming the landscape of education, the importance of digital resources.
Okay, so that was the transition, and that will bring the second session of the script. So I think this is the general idea that I wanted to show in audio. So these are, you have the elements, which is background music, transition music, narration, and then you just assemble it. And there's just small tricks here that regulates the volume, cut pieces of the audio file, move it forwards, backwards. You can really do anything that you want. It's really very powerful, and it's quite easy to use. So don't be afraid of all those buttons, because the things that you really use are very few ones. Of course, if you want to do something more sophisticated, you can use it. And of course, you can also record directly here to Audacity. You can has a record button that you use your microphone in the computer if you want to record the narration directly to the Audacity. You can record use musical instruments and other things. You can accelerate and decrease the velocity of the audio. And when you are satisfied, you need to export. So this is the final part, is that you have to export the file this can be in different formats. Here we have MP3, WAV, and OGG. So MP3 is compacted, okay? So this will be read by any device, and it's a small audio file, while WAV is wave mode. This is without compression. So this has more quality, but the file is much larger. And finally, there's OGG. This is the open source version of MP3, because some systems, because MP3 is proprietary. So you can export as all three and then just use the ones that you like the most. But for most cases, MP3 will suffice. Okay, so that was Audacity and some tips about preparing video files. So I think I'm going to end here this part. So goodbye, Audacity. I'm not saving it. And now for the final part, I think I'm going almost at the hour, but I'm going to be, I think, 10 more minutes. It's not going to be very long. It's Shotcut. So Shotcut is also a video-free software for editing, and it's also for every operating system. And again, I asked ChatGPT to prepare me a script. So this was the output. So again, indications, what kind of image you want. So he suggests an open shot of a vibrant star-filled sky. Then the narrator comes in. And then there's this thing called the transition. So this is the equivalent of the audio transition that we just witnessed in Audacity. So the transition is something that you make like the screen go black or the screen go white or an image going moving on the top of the other or dissolving. We have similar things for PowerPoint, like the transition between slides is the exact same thing. So you can have transitions and more images and so on. But there's an additional element here because you have the images or video clips, and then you have background music. So you can also add background music, theme music, audio effects, and narration to the video timeline. So it's a bit more complex than the audio because you have more elements, but the general idea is the same. You have several tracks of elements, but now both visual and audio, and a sequence that is the timeline, and you have to place each chunk of your video there. And then you control, you do the mixing so that you can control the volume, you can control the appearance, if you're going to move things or not. So there's really a lot you can do. I'm going to start here Shotcut, so you can just take a look. I must confess that it crashed in my system a few times, so that's why I'm not going to spend much time here. So it's very simple, okay? I have here already a test file, but everything here, the equivalent to the tracks is that you have here is also tracks. So when you come here in the timeline here, is you click on this first icon, and then you have the options, track operations. So here you can directly select a video track or audio track. So depends on the type of file. So if I'll add a video track, then you need to associate a video file to that track. If it's audio track, then it's a audio file. Okay, so here can be an MP4 file, and here you can have an audio file, and then you can just keep piling up tracks. So here I have just the first scene, and for that I used my favorite source of astronomical images. That is the website of the European Southern Observatory, ESO. So here you have thousands and thousands and thousands of videos and images that are all compliant with Creative Commons. They have the policy here, but as long as you give credit to ESO or the other authors, you are free to use. You can come to videos and type here galaxies, and then it will give you the video clips that they have for galaxies. You can preview it. So like this one, you just can. They are also on YouTube. So error, good, okay. But you can also download. Okay, if you go to the page of that video, you have here links for downloading the images or video files in many different formats and sizes. So you have the smallest one is 20 megabytes, and you have Ultra HD in 4K, that's 130 times more, 13 times more larger, the file is 260 mega. And then for broadcasters, that's for professional production, each small clip, this is like 20-second clip, is over 5 gigabytes. So don't use that, okay? Unless you want to use all your HD hard drive memory. Okay, so this is where I pick up images. I recommend everyone to explore it. Okay, and there are also images. So you can also have free images, still images, and you can search, you can type. But there are also other sources of images that are free to use, and the one that I enjoy using is Pexels. So Pexels is a free database of images that you can use. So you can just here and type anything like space, and then you have some images that you can put in your video. So this is very useful if you're preparing videos. Now back to shortcuts. So the idea here is the same as the audio editing. So you have tracks, but these tracks can be for video, they can be for audio. You just grab the images here from your computer. So you need to show you just select here a still image like this one. I don't know what it is. Okay, it's a galaxy. And then you can add another track here. So I'm going to add a track. I'll add video track. Okay, it's not a video, it's an image, but it's a visual element. So it's here, and then I can just move here, and then I will put it after the first clip, and then I have the image. So I have here now is one video, short clip. I have a second image of a galaxy, and I have a narration. I don't have any background music. I don't want to use it now because we're almost out of time. So after you have all the elements organized together, you can just preview the button here. So you can hear and play. What is play? Or just play, yes, just press the space bar, and then you see in the
Ever gaze into the night sky and wonder about the mysteries beyond our world?
And then you have the image, and then you can do lots of things, you know, with the images. You can move it, you can zoom, you can move it around. So this is a shortcut. So the idea is the same, the effects that you can use and everything that you want. Oh, you can also put text over, of course, subtitles or captions. You can edit and add it to the project, and then you have your video. So, but it's a lot, you know, it's really many elements. But so in this presentation, I wanted to give you the concept. And in my view, the audio is more easy to visualize because there are a few elements. When you move to video, the idea of assembling your video is the same, but to make it good looking, it will demand you a bit more effort, because then you have all the effects that you can do that can be exploited with the different tools here. Again, don't be afraid, just click things. Move your mouse here over the icons that they will tell you what to do, and this shortcut is a free tool that is available for everyone. But before I finish, I wanted to show you Vimeo, because I know this shortcut can be a bit challenging, and you know. So one good thing about video is that you can also use its editor. So Vimeo is vimeo.com. You create an account, and then you can create your videos. You can use the videos that you captured, or use it from other sources like the ISO. And then you can start using this editor. This is much more user-friendly because it has many less options. So here in media, you can upload your media, but you can also use their own media. So they have a bank of videos that they can use in different categories. So have here city, we can have also here, there's education, technology. I don't know if there's space or not. Let's search. And let's see what kind of options. So yes, you have an astronaut here. So I'm going to add it here to the and then of course they're trying to sell me the pro plan. So you can select the video clips and add to your project. So you have the different elements here in your timeline. And then you can also add text. So you can put a text here and you just type text. And then you can type space. You can change the color. So you can change the color of the text to white. Okay, it's really very, very intuitive. So that's why I wanted to show here at the end of this presentation, because maybe if you start playing with Vimeo, as it's more user-friendly, you can grab a few, and then when you feel more confident, you move to Shortcut, which has more resources. Okay, so you have media, and the presets, you also have like already some templates that you can use for your presentation. So you can have the scenes and grab your pictures and put here, then use these transitions. You have the options of graphics, so you can add frames, like if you want this to put a rectangular frame here, I can put it. I don't know why, but I can use here like this rectangle in over space, and I can control the size of it, so we can have it larger or smaller. I can flip, I can rotate. So if I can have it on the diagonal. There are many things that you can do, and you can explore it. But as I said, video is a more complicated issue. But you can edit videos and you can have a nice result, but it requires you some effort. And don't be afraid of playing with these tools because they're available, they're free. And after you're satisfied, you can save, of course. So let's preview what the result was. It's not very great, but we can see how it's looking.
Into the night sky and wonder about the mysteries beyond our world. Galaxies, vast cosmic cities of stars, gas, and dust, each telling its own unique story. Spiral galaxies with graceful arms, elliptical galaxies like celestial spheres, and irregular galaxies, rebels in the cosmic dance.
So that was this scratch of video. So you had that first image, then the second image, and the narration. Of course, it's not good, but it requires some effort and some hours of work to have even a very small video clip finalized. So when you are happy, you can save it, and then you can download the results as you want, and it will be saved in your gallery. So that's Vimeo. So you can have some time. You need time available to use this tool. So I'm going to stop sharing because I'm here on my final remarks. So the idea here of video is that it's more complicated, has more elements, it requires more time, not only for preparing the video, because it has all these transitions and layers and tracks, but also handling, because while I'm talking with you now, the video is being converted. So even for a very short video, a few minutes long, it might take a few hours to render a video in high definition. So this is something that you need to have in mind, that when having your video, you need time. So usually when you are editing video, you work on the project, you save your project, and then when you want to export it to have the MP4 file, the video file, the final version, you do it at night. When you're going to bed, you export because you take hours, even if it's a very short video, okay? And if you are using a software like Shortcut, that will consume a lot of your system resources. So your computer will become slow, it will overheat, it will consume lots of disk space. So it's not for everyone because it will, the better the machine you have, the best. So you need to consider these things. So that's why I wanted to start with audio, because audio is much simpler to understand and will require less resources from your machine. And Audacity, I think it's a very good tool that is easy to use and you can have lots of fun preparing podcasts. So I think I finished it, Rosa. I don't know if you have questions or comments. I'm going to check the YouTube now.
No questions, no comments. Yeah, my brain is overwhelmed with everything that you presented, but I must confess that I didn't have, I didn't know that we could do things that separately, like what you did with Audacity. That was really super cool. I
The
didn't know
tracks, right? Yeah.
the tracks and how, I mean, it makes you wonder, you know, how one prepares a podcast. And but you provided some very interesting platforms where we can get all these little different things. So I think I might adventure there. I don't know. We
Why
can
not?
create our nuclear podcasts with some nice music and some nice topics. I think that's worth it a trial. I don't know if I would adventure in video. I think that maybe next January we can have one about making your own video instead of editing, how you create your own video, you know, with the green thing and everything else. Maybe that is also something useful. I remember you teaching someone about how to use a mobile phone to record themselves. But yeah, that's for another one. That was very complete, and I think people can use it like, you know, playing what you presented and stop and go into Audacity, which I knew before, but I didn't know it that well. So I think that was really very useful. Thank you very much, Gustavo. Thank you also for sharing the different sources of information that are free to use. That is something also that is important. And I think I won't take you for longer and not keep this webinar longer because we are here already an hour and almost 15 minutes. But that was, I think, was to the point. And now maybe teachers can also share this with the students and have them create their own podcasts for the school. Maybe that's also a very good idea to transmit information. So thank you a lot for that. Let me take the opportunity to remind you that tomorrow we have the next and the last new partnerships events from 3 to 4 CET time. Maybe we can give, okay, so I have Gustavo, I know that I cannot share. You have to share for me. I have the link here for the next webinar. Actually, the list of the next webinars. The next one is going to be about rethinking students' assessment next Wednesday, same time. And the new partnerships is going to be tomorrow. And you can find all the information. Gustavo, I'm putting both here on the Zoom for you. All the information there. You need to register in order to be able to attend. And later on, we are going to put this also on the web. But the purpose tomorrow will be, tomorrow, December 7th, will be to have schools establishing new partnerships. So it would be very nice to have you there with us.
Yes,
so that is it, Gustavo. Sorry.
We see each other tomorrow again.
We see each other tomorrow. That's it. We see each other tomorrow with another row. And I guess that was it. Thank you very much again. And
My pleasure.
we'll be back tomorrow, everyone. So come back as well.
that's it. So thank you. And if we don't see you tomorrow, see you next week with the next webinar. So that's it.